Hi, friends, and hi, new folks. My name is Sarah. I make the Costume Codex videos. Sometimes I talk about costumes, sometimes I talk about story, sometimes about culture. And today, what I want to talk about is hope. Things have been dark for a while now, these last few years, and in some ways before that. And I think for a lot of us, the way we feel about hope has been tested or changed. And I think it's been harder and harder to hold on to for some of us, or more needed to hold on to in so many ways. Like these last couple of years, in some ways have felt like a really long winter that just never ends. But the thing about winter is that sooner or later, spring comes. And today, the day that I am releasing this video, is the 1st of May, May Day, Beltane, a day associated with spring and renewal in so much of the world. And I thought, what a good time to start thinking about hope, to start having conversations about hope. I think for a lot of us, particularly people who do this sort of thing, where we find hope, where we are able to talk about it is in stories, in the media that we engage with. And so I got together some folks I know who do this sort of thing, and I set us all an assignment. I said, choose one scene from all of media that says something to you about hope. From any media, and you define hope and you define scene however you want. And so that's what we've done. And I've created a playlist, which you will find in the doobly-doo, of our scenes about hope. But I want this to be the beginning of the conversation, not the end. So I'm going to keep that playlist open. And if any of you out there in YouTube land want to write about a scene that to you means hope, you can send it to me and I'll add it to the playlist. I want this to be open to as many different voices as possible. So I just ask, the only rule is that you engage in good faith and add any content warning or heads up if there's something that needs it in the text, or if the text is perhaps created by someone who is doing harm, particularly to marginalized people. We just want to keep things respectful and make sure that this is an enjoyable experience for as many people as possible. So that is the assignment. And if you don't want to make a video, you can always use the comment section and tell us what scene tells you something about hope, and what does hope mean to you. And there'll be a hashtag that you can add, one scene for hope. And so with all that being said, I'm going to cut to my contribution. And to show what I mean, I do need to give a little bit of a heads up about this one. I'm going to talk about the series Angel, which was created by Joss Whedon. And I want to say that me engaging with this work is not an endorsement of Whedon, or the work environment that he created. The show was the work of many people, and it is a work independent of its creator, and I think has useful things to say. So, but if you are not comfortable with engaging with something connected to him after his actions, I totally support you, and just skip to the next video in the playlist. The setting is a quiet nighttime garden, and the character of Angel is explaining to a friend the epiphany that he has had.
There's no grand plan, no big win.
You seem kind of chipper about that.
Well, I guess I kind of I worked it out. If there's no great, glorious end to all this, if nothing we do matters, then all that matters is what we do.
It is a beautiful scene in its own right, but to understand it, we have to look at another scene, one that speaks not to hope, but to despair. So, previously on Angel, due to various supernatural shenanigans, our hero, Angel, who is a vampire with a soul who fights for truth and justice and all that good stuff, he finds himself in a position where he is offered the opportunity to visit the home office of the evil law firm, which in this story represents sort of evil as a force in the world. And how he's supposed to get to this home office is on an elevator, escorted by Holland Manners, who is a representative of said evil law firm. So Angel thinks he is going to hell in an elevator to perhaps fight the big boss, to meet the senior partners, as they are called, and sort of have the big boss battle. That is what it's set up for. And on this elevator, he talks to Holland, and he says, "You'll never win."
Well, no, of course we not. We have no intention of doing anything so prosaic as winning.
He tells him that evil exists within people, within the world. And it exists just to keep going.
Which is why winning doesn't enter into it. We go on, no matter what.
And to drive home the point, when the elevator gets to home office, he is back on the street where he left, on Earth, with all the ordinary humans in it. So there is no grand plan. There is no big boss to slay. And at the realization of that, Angel loses all hope. But it is after losing his hope that he finds the epiphany. All that matters is what we do. Here, now, for one another, in this moment.
Because that's all there is. What we do now, today.
In the story world, evil exists and has plans and all that. But I don't actually believe in evil. Not as a supernatural villainous force like this. What I do believe in is power. And to me, this law firm is one of the best metaphors I've seen for the hegemony, for power. It's the dominance of one group over another, and the culture that normalizes that. So it's the thing that unites patriarchy, white supremacy, cis heteronormativity, classism, ableism, all the isms that place one group as having power over another. Hegemony is the mechanics behind all that. So I'm quite oversimplifying a bunch of sort of complicated philosophy with Foucault and Gramsci, who go into the details a lot. But hegemony, like power exists to perpetuate power. That is we're not trying to win, we're just trying to keep going. It has no end game. Just the perpetuation of itself. And it does so by what's called manufactured consent, by essentially playing on the fears and anxieties, and also like selfish hopes at times of ordinary people. It preys on the worst of people to make them feel like they don't have a better choice or another option. Just participate.
Our firm has always been here, in one form or another.
If the law firm is hegemony, then who is Angel in this story? Well, he's all of us, especially those of us who exist in marginalized bodies and marginalized identities. And we are trying to fight for our rights, to stand up for ourselves and for each other. It can feel impossible. It's meant to feel impossible. You can beat one boss, you can win one fight, but there's always more fights because power just exists to exist. And if there's a day when we can find the utopia where the fight for justice is done, we all know that it's not a day that we will see ourselves. And that can seem hopeless. Or,
And all that matters is what we do.
if there is no great victory, if we will not see a utopia, if there's no big final boss, then everything we do matters. Each thing we do, each action we take is everything. If the forces of power want us to be silent, then every word spoken matters. If those powers want us to be small, then the space we take up matters. If that world wants us to be miserable, then every moment of joy is an act of resistance. And if it wants us to be divided, then every act of connection, of coalition, is an act of rebellion. Everything we do to care for ourselves and everything we do for each other matters. For those of us the world wants to marginalize, caring about ourselves is an act of resistance. And I find a lot of hope in thinking of things this way, that everything we do matters. That it is really the only thing that matters, what we do for each other and for ourselves. To me, that's such a concrete kind of hope. Hope in action, rather than hoping that someday the work will pay off, but instead looking at the work itself as the thing that is everything. And that is what I think of when I watch this scene. That is why it is one of my favorite scenes in all of media, and what I want to talk about when I think about hope.
Because if there's no bigger meaning than the smallest act of kindness, it's the greatest thing in the world.
Thanks, friends. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you will check out the other videos in the playlist.